Hello, and welcome to the RealRam fam. On my channel, I intend to provide you with a safe platform to discuss the intersections of your entire being, to be able to be comfortable in your own skin, in mission, or position. There is no one like you, and we all have a purpose and message. I, for one, am a black woman, mother of four, a military veteran, and a wife, and a social worker, just to name a few. From my channel, I hope that you learn more about military families and social workers. Three of the social work values are my aim in each video: importance of human relationships, dignity and worth of the person, and social justice. No matter what you initially think when you hear social worker, there is more to the profession. Trust me. Stay locked in by subscribing to the channel and be sure that you hit that notifications bell so you don't miss any new uploads. Without further ado, on to today's episode. What's up, Ram fam? So it has been a minute, but this is the second live for 2023. I hope that everybody is doing well. And on this day, this MLK Day, what have you done to enrich yourself, to enrich your community, and just to embrace everyone? I hope you guys took a moment to just, just be here, be in spirit, be with one another. So today I got a special guest with me. And like I said, today we're gonna get real today, but we're gonna take a moment and bring it in real slow. My special guest today, I'm gonna let him introduce himself. But he is a true Southerner, just like my husband, and that's how I got connected with him. So before we jump into the show, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, and then we're gonna do my introduction questions.
All right. Well, I am Reverend Dr. Simone Hicks. I go by Doc. That's named after my great grandfather. I am an educator. I am a father of two almost grown kids. So my wife and I are almost done. Been married about 20 years. Uh, I run a Facebook group called Book of Man where we try to support men and talk about men's issues from the standpoint of improving ourselves, improving our families, and the community around us. We do book studies every week. We have mastermind groups for goal setting. Lots of things. You think about it, we do it. So that's me in a nutshell.
All right. So let me share this screen with you. So everybody gets asked these questions.
Okay.
All right, look at that. That's so raggedy looking. But we gonna get right into it.
It's all right. It's all
Okay,
right.
somebody commented. Okay.
Yep.
My son says hello.
Oh, hey. All right.
Okay. Ugh. Look, I can't even fix this right now. Okay, you see this? Can you
Yeah.
see this?
Yep. We
All
can see
right.
that.
Can you tell me what is your birth order?
Birth order. I have one sister, so I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest. And so
Mhm.
these descriptions right here of the only child, or sorry, the firstborn, does that fit you?
Responsible, motivated, contentious, controlling, cautious, relatable, perceptionist, achiever, leader, bossy. Some, but not all.
Some or not all.
Yeah.
Which ones, which either you can go which either way, which ones you agree with and which ones you disagree with.
Okay. Disagree. Bossy. Not that.
Oh yeah.
Nah, I'm
Okay.
not bossy.
Okay, you're not bossy.
um, controlling. Well, no, not in the classic sense. No, not controlling. Uh, the rest of them, yeah, okay, I can go with that. But I do have um traits from the other ones.
Okay. So for me, I am my mother's only child, but I am my father's middle.
See,
But I fit every last one. I fit every last
oh,
one of
good.
them. But I really don't think center of attention. Like I really do not try to be the center of attention. I don't want it on me.
Mm-hmm.
I try to do everything like from the bag. Like I don't want it on me. I don't
Right.
know if others will agree with me on that, but everything else that fits me.
Okay.
So yeah. So you ready? You ready to get in? You ready
Yeah,
to
let's
get
go.
into it?
Let's
All
do
right,
it.
let's get into it. So today we're gonna talk about the 6-year-old that shot his teacher in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, I'm trying to find something real quick.
All
Hold
right.
on. I do have everything ready, but I'm
All right.
trying to simultaneously do something over here.
Look, this live streaming thing is not as easy as people would think it is. Trust me. So I know.
You know, I had it ready. Okay. So everybody that's watching, so he lets you know that Doc lets you know that he is an educator. Why is this stuff still here?
Try to
He lets you know
share
he is an educator. I am a
the window.
school-based therapist. For those of you who are new, so I'm gonna back that up. I am also a mental health therapist who is assigned inside of a school. So every day, that is where I am. I'm inside of a school. Um, so both of us are gonna come to you from that perspective of being inside of a school. This whole review is going to be totally just based off of the briefing that was provided by the police officer or the I really don't know what he was. Was he wasn't the
It's
police
usually the
chief
chief.
either?
The
So
chief.
he
Yeah.
was the police chief. Okay,
Mhm.
so this is all based on him and the perspective that he gave. What we all have to understand is that when police, law enforcement, let's just say law enforcement, when law enforcement give their information, it is based from the criminal perspective.
Mhm.
No matter what they say, that's the lens that they are giving us. They can speak softly, they can speak kindly, and this is including when they come to your home. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter where they are. And they're like, if you just cooperate with us, like it doesn't matter. They will always speak to you from the law. So that's how I am going to set this stage because I want you to understand that. So I was going to play it for you, but I have my notes. Doctor, you have some notes that you
Yeah,
have
let's go.
taken.
Mhm.
Okay. So I'm gonna try to do this like a little bit by bit. When you guys have questions, please go ahead, put your questions in the chat. You know that I will get to it. So he said that they have 96 hours in which to make a decision,
Mhm.
whether this child will be charged or not, or whether the parents will be charged or not. So 96 hours, it goes pretty quick. By the time he gave this interview, it had been 2 or 3 days have passed already.
Mhm.
Um, so one of the first things that popped for me between me and my husband, a hero. I did look up the definition of a hero, but
Mhm.
we're not gonna take too much time. Nope. First, let's back up. Let's because I'm about to turn into Tawana. First of all, we're gonna stay in the therapist social work role right now, and I looked up the demographics of this school. Rich Neck Elementary School is, according to greatschools.org in Virginia, is 44% black, 22% white, and 16% Hispanic. I was not able to find anywhere where they actually gave the race of this child. However, we tend to know that when they do the narrative the way that they do, that this child is often, or the perpetrator is often black or some minority. But I haven't seen any interviews of the child's parents,
Mhm.
family members. I haven't seen any of the students. They just said that they wanted to speak with them. So, with 44% Black students and 16% Hispanic, it is very likely that this child is a minority.
Okay.
Now, we also know that with 26% white students, it's still a possibility that this is a white student.
Mm-hmm.
We also know that when a person is a school shooter, they often tend to be white.
Right.
We also know that when they tend to not give the race at all, they tend to be white. But that information has not been
Well,
given.
I think that
It hasn't been given.
but I wonder um with other school incidences and things that have happened, um everything comes out, but it doesn't come out right away. Um, I
Mhm.
think that after they decide who they're going to charge, then we'll see everything. Um,
Mhm.
I think they will wait until then, because if they release it too early and they don't charge the kid, then you have them releasing the things of a minor beforehand.
Yeah.
But I think once that time is up, I think everything will come out.
Yeah. And the fact that things have not been leaked
Mm-hmm.
also tends to lead a certain way. The way that we as Black people have seen things go. When
Mm-hmm.
they are very tight lipped on something, the perpetrator tends to be of a certain persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
But again, speaking from the facts that have been given, we do not know.
Right.
So that's me speaking on all the facts that have been given. Okay, here's one more fact
Mm-hmm.
that has been given that you and I both know. But before I switch gears, because I am going to switch gears,
All right.
um, the chief wanted everyone to know that the first thing that teacher wanted to know was how were her students.
Mm-hmm.
Also, that as this incident occurred, how much she protected her students, all the care and all that she did to ensure that the students were safe. Well, you and I both know that that's not necessarily a hero. This is
Okay.
what they are trained to do.
Mm. I kind of
Before we get emotional, we're gonna stick right now with
um
just the fact. Because trust me, I'm gonna switch to emotion. Trust me.
well,
But through your lens and my lens of what they are
okay.
trained to do,
Mm-hmm.
that's what she's trained to do,
Can
and that's where I'm
can
gonna
we
show. Go
can we
ahead. Go
stand we
ahead.
talk about that for a second?
Go ahead.
Um at least I don't know about that school district,
Mm-hmm.
but now when you say that that's what they're trained to do, what type of training are you talking about?
I
I'm
am.
curious.
Yep. I am talking about this right here. Oh, no, those are my notes. Those are my notes. Two basic templates.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move this on out the way. Two basic templates that I have pulled up. Because each school is different. But the first one, crisis intervention tips. First, they must remain calm,
Mm-hmm.
isolate the person who's having the crisis,
Mm-hmm.
allow for silence, keep it simple, watch your body language, watch for paraverbals. Now, this doesn't even match my school per se, but this is just a basic template for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you're supposed to do in a crisis.
Okay.
Then, secondly, this is another crisis intervention. The first thing you do in the immediate crisis response is to ensure the safety, ensure the physical and emotional safety of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Implement clear communication and resource distribution plan.
Okay.
right? That's the very, very first thing that everyone is supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Teachers are trained to do this. The mental health staff is trained to do this. The
Okay.
resource officers, they are trained to do this. So when we try to use the word hero, she responded via her training.
Well,
Why does it look like I'm not sharing this with you? Am I?
yes, I don't
I
see it.
was training. I was sharing that with you, wasn't I?
No, I didn't see it, but I heard
Oh
it. I
Lord.
heard it.
Okay, no,
And
no, no. You need to see it. You need to see it. You need to see it. You need to
okay.
see it.
Try to when you share, try to share the not the screen, but the window.
It's on the desktop. But okay, you see that now, right?
Mm-hmm. Let me make
Okay.
it bigger over
The
here.
chart.
Yep. So I can say this. Um, being a person, and the reason why I asked that question is for many
Mm-hmm.
years, um, I've I've been that dude. You know, I was the one that trained teachers in crisis communication. Um, I trained select, and I selected the teachers that would respond physically to things that would happen with students, and those are things that we would tell them to do. Um,
Yeah.
Now, in terms of the hero label, I don't know. That didn't come up because to me is like she's a victim of something that happened. But I would not describe her as a hero. Um, for ensuring that nobody else got shot, which I don't know what she did. I don't know when she got shot, what happened. Did she tell the kids to run or do things like that? Um, Not sure. But it would be interesting to see how the news and the various outlets, how they frame her and identify her. So that's we had to see how this play out because this is going to be interesting. I like the slant that you've taken on this. So
So this, people who watch, y'all know, when I got my social work stuff on, but when I take it back to the home,
mhm.
okay. So the intersection of Tawana now. So training, right?
Mhm.
That could just be a PowerPoint, right? To be honest, right? She could have been trained via PowerPoint, right? I've had that
Depending.
training. I've had that training when I was in the military.
Mhm.
I've had CPR training.
Mhm.
When it all comes down to it, I am a panicker. I'm a panicker. I panic.
Right.
My third child broke his arm. I haven't really had to deal with many child, even one, my first child got hurt, but I panics,
Mhm.
and then I make a phone call. My voice may or may not sound whatever, but a PS like I know what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
Put cold water on it for my first child, or don't put cold water on it. Apparently, I wasn't supposed to put cold water on it. My husband told me after the fact. I made it worse. I made it worse.
Mhm.
But I was in full panic mode. I'm gonna put water on it. I called 911. Actually, I called my husband, but he was too far away. So I called
Right.
911. My second child, or my third child, he broke his arm. Like, okay, I'm calling 911. I give him, put some ice on it. I give him some ibuprofen for the swelling and stuff.
Mhm.
But dude, I'm panicking.
Right.
But I know what I'm supposed to do.
Mhm.
So to say that this teacher was a hero because she protected the other children, she got them out of the room, and then when they showed up at the hospital room, the first thing she did was ask about her students.
Mhm.
I mean, if it were you, do you not say your students, your congregation? I do the same thing. These are my students. These are my clients. This is my whatever. This is my neighborhood. That doesn't necessarily make her a hero.
Okay.
Well, so let's talk about savior's complex that white people tend to have.
All right.
And people don't want to touch that. But white people tend to have that savior's complex.
Okay.
Is it possible that there was a little bit of that going on? Because she's 26 years old.
For me, and my viewpoint is, I've seen over the years, well, many years, teachers do refer to students as my students. And there are many career teachers that would do that. So that to me, that behavior doesn't seem abnormal. It's things that I've seen from my Black teachers, white teachers, Hispanic, any teacher I worked with over the past decades. I've seen kind of the same type of behavior. In terms of, okay, is my students okay, this and that, going and doing extra things, providing things, stuff like that. So I'm not really sure. But so when I hear people say, oh, my students, teachers do that. Teachers are very territorial and possessive. Very. And you know this.
Yep.
And when it comes to students, it's much the same. Even after they pass them to the next grade and they're handed off to the next teacher, they're still their students.
Yep. It's facts. That's facts.
I mean, I do that. I've been teaching since 2006. And I've taught every grade from kindergarten to 8th grade. Been through all of them. And I still say the same thing about, all those kids. My first set of students have since graduated and moved on, but still call them my students. As a matter of fact, I have a way of addressing them where they all seem important. I tell them, you're one of my favorite students. I'm your favorite. I'm like, yeah, you're one of my favorites. And I tell them all that. So they know they all just one of my favorites.
Yeah, exactly. So I was on that hero and training. Okay. Right as I get ready to talk about the hero and the training, Marine.
Okay.
The mayor apparently is a former Marine. And he likened her to being a Marine.
Okay.
He said, we would welcome you into the Marines any day. And then he said, Semper Fidelis. So, right perfectly, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to welcome, for the first time, we're going to welcome in my husband, Amir.
Oh, hey, Amir. Good.
You want to say something about that last line, Amir?
Hey, what's going on? How you guys doing?
Hey, man. I'm glad to talk to you again after all these years.
Yeah, this is crazy, man.
Yeah, so the mayor likened her to the Marines and was like, yeah, we would welcome you into the Marines, as you were a hero.
That's what the mayor said about the teacher.
Yes.
Interesting. Well, yeah, I told you that was my problem is with the narrative that was being created around her before we even had any of the facts. And I do appreciate them standing up for their teachers, but we don't really know what the facts are before the shooting or what happened. Happened in the class the day of the shooting.
Yeah, I want to know the buildup.
Yes.
What transpired between the student and the teacher in the days before. What did she say to him? What did he say to her? Or what did they do? Those type of things. Because it's a lot of things that can set kids off. Lots of little things.
Yeah.
But I think, I would say that drawing the parallel between a Marine and a teacher and that person saying that, I wouldn't venture to say that at all, because I'm a teacher, been in there a long time. But a Marine, no, not even close. Look, I wouldn't even utter that from my lips. Not at all. Because what Marines have to go through, the training and all of the things and all of the sacrifices. I mean, teachers, we do that too, but not on that level. It's a totally different thing. Totally different thing. I think he was definitely wrong in that.
Yeah. And he looked young himself. He probably, I don't want to throw no age out there, but he's probably 20, 28, 30 at the most. And so again, what it takes to be a Marine, what it takes for training, what it takes, it could be anything. And then who knows? He could also just be playing politics. Who knows what he has to say when he gets in front of those cameras?
If you ask me, I think it's one of those things where it sounded good. It sounded good to say that, sounded good to uplift. So he said that.
Yeah.
Spoke without thinking.
Yeah. It definitely, that's what it sounded like. It sounds like they're playing politics. It sounds like it kind of came off the cuff. He didn't really rehearse it. But those narratives have consequences. And when you kind of invoke the power of the military, it just turns everything into something else. And if the teacher is the Marine in the story, if she's playing the part of the Marine, what part is the kid now playing? Right? So you create this adversarial and now the kid is filling in as it's the bad guy, it's the enemy. It's like a classical role. And so it sets the kid up, or even the kid's family, for a lifetime of struggle because of a narrative that was created, so long ago. And we have to be super careful. And when we hear it, we should challenge those narratives when they started to paint them.
It's a perfect segue that you said that too, because the opposite of the Marine, right? And so the chief kept slipping. He had to catch himself. He called him a young man a couple of times, and he had to go back and say child.
Yep.
So I caught that.
Do you know about that? And you may have heard me say it before. There's a studies done and a theory about the adultification of children. And this is a part of that. Basically, children don't exist anymore. And the reason why we say that is because society, parents, and everyone treats children like small adults. Like they're adults, they're just small. When the last time you saw children's clothing in the store? In a long time.
They took it out of our BX.
They just smaller versions of adults' clothing. So with that, with society itself pretty much eradicating children, not treating them like small adults, supposed to be on the emotional scale of an adult, even though they're only 6-7 years old, supposed to be able to problem solve and think critically when they've only been on the earth for a few years. And it has pervaded everything. So even with this man saying, and you might be used to calling someone a young man, but when children don't exist anymore, you treat them like adults. And this perpetuates that. Now, the thing is, and we don't know yet, like you talked earlier about knowing if the child was black or white or whatever. And you know what they say. And you know what the data shows is that our children always appear older to them, to everybody.
Yeah.
They always do. That's why Tamir Rice, they said that this kid was like a full-grown man and he was like 12.
Yeah.
So it happens.
It's the punchline for one of Dave Chappelle's jokes.
And
when he talks about It uses R. Kelly's situation as the setup, saying like how he peed on peed on children, right? And everybody goes, that's horrendous, and R. Kelly should be punished for that. But then he talks about this one kid that did the wrestling move on his neighbor, and they end up killing the neighbor off of the wrestling move. They treated that kid as an adult, was tried as an adult. And so basically the punchline is that if it's okay to, treat the kid who was like 13 at the time as an adult, then it should be okay to pee on them. Like you can't then you can't change the how you want to treat them at a certain time. You use it in one case to punish a person, but then you use it against remove it and then punish a person who's that same age in another scenario. And so this is one of those signs, and happens in our society. We look at a kid who's 13 in one scenario as being a child, and then a kid in another scenario is being treated as a grown man.
Definitely. And to me, I see when this whole situation is a student in crisis. And because it developed to the point where a weapon was brought into it, it's still a kid in crisis.
Yeah,
it is. And without knowing all the details, but they didn't stop this before it got that far. You could stop this.
Yeah.
It's easy to see the signs. If you are a teacher and you're in a classroom with kids,
Yeah.
I can see a kid and they may walk a different speed and I know something wrong with them.
Yeah.
Or they may reply to me a certain way and I know something wrong. And then you have to know how to talk to them and how to get to the bottom of it and then get them the help they need.
Yeah.
And without knowing all the details, but as of right now, I say they failed that boy.
Yep. So one of the questions I have is, because the chief was like, this was intentional. So how many adults was listening to that child prior to this incident? That's one question, right? Or even saw, right? Because that's listening to,
seeing.
That's active listening. And then my next question is, how many meetings did these parents have with the school? Right? Because that's what's supposed to happen. Surely there was something going on, and these parents have had meetings. They've had phone calls. They've had this. How many were there prior to this incident? How many times did this teacher, this hero of a teacher, contact the parents?
Well, I'm going to say this, and these from my experience. This is what happens when you have a child that is a problem in the classroom. There are some things that happens, and there are some unspoken things that happen. Now, here's one of them. If this child is disruptive to a high degree, like there are some kids that are so disruptive till they disrupt the learning of everybody, like the whole class. They shut it down every day. What they'll do, some teachers push that kid buttons so they can get him out of the class. And they do it real slick. It happens. It does happen. But I want to know about the parents. That's what I want to know. I want to know what if these meetings happen, if they were contacted about their child, what was their response to that? Because I can tell you from personal experience multiple times, there are parents that, when you call them, they won't answer the phone if they see the school phone number up there. They won't do it. They won't respond to the text, nothing. Or they'll tell you this, that's your job. I've
seen that.
They've told me that. So I think this is a mess from the top to the bottom. If you ask me, I think all parties have to bear the brunt of some of this.
Yeah, that's why I'm hesitant to say hero, because there's in reality, after the investigation is over with, if it's an honest investigation, there probably will be no heroes in this. There'd probably be a lot of people, like you said, that let this little boy down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they said they want to talk to a lot of. They said they threw a number. Y'all know me in numbers. The number of children that they want to speak to.
Probably about 20, 25, probably.
Well, they definitely didn't say that, nor like the whole class.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, it happens where teachers push buttons. Mm-hmm. And so being on the mental health team, being part of that intervention and that prevention, I've seen that. And I've been in these meetings with these parents, and I've seen what you said. But what I have also seen is that these meetings are a waste of parents' time because it's not a plan. So me also as a parent, I'm like, you called me up here for this meeting for me to just sit here and listen to you tell me how much of a problem my child is, and you don't have a plan. I'm telling you that at home, this is what I tell my child to do. They either do it or they don't. But when they come here, you're telling me that you can't do the same thing? You want me to leave my job to sit here and listen to this? You got a teacher, you have whatever y'all make, an ISS coordinator or whatever. You got a therapist, you got a psychologist, you got all these people, and y'all telling me y'all can't do nothing?
I don't know. I kind of disagree.
It'd be a waste of time. And then, in the meetings,
in
the meetings that I have seen, some schools, they are ill prepared, and you want parents to sit there and listen to you say, "Oh, we have an IEP for your child. We have a 504 for your child. Your child needs to take breaks," but then they don't do it. If your child, let's take the child who has the 504. Let's just do that, because that's often the child who's interrupting.
Let's say the child with the IEP, because
this child is known to need to take a break, right? Because they're flustered with the math lesson, because either they don't understand or whatever. It is known that they need to take a break. It is known that teacher is supposed to come and check on that child every 10 minutes, but they don't do it. And then this child is over here clapping their hands, talking out loud, just being disruptive, and you just kick them out the class.
It's more complex.
No, that's not how that works. That's not
it's a lot more complex than that. A whole lot. Let's say the kid is disruptive, right? And you give them breaks, you do all this stuff. Sometimes, a lot of times, that stuff don't work. And I'm telling you from my professional
example. Let's give an example of what disruptive is.
Okay. Well, I can tell you, I'm dealing with 4 of them right now. I got a kid who has personality disorder, and he intentionally does things to irritate people up to the point where they hit him or fight with him. And they intentionally cause a disruption to the point where you have to remove them from the setting. Like, people gonna get hurt if you don't. Now, in a case like that, you do have to have the initial meeting to tell the parents, okay, this is what's going on, right? You got to do that. Now, this whole thing is a team. It's a team decision. So it would not be right if I had this plan to tell you about it as a parent.
Right.
Or we developed this plan and didn't include you on it. Because there are some parents that say, oh, no, that won't work for my kids. You got to do this or you got to do that. And it's a tricky thing to have a plan already drawn up and prepared before the parent get there. It's tricky. You got to know how to navigate it. Because what they're going to say is that they already pigeonholed my kid. They had this stuff together for him before they even talked to me. So what you could do is draw a draft and say, okay, this is a draft. Let's talk about each section and see if we can do this stuff, and actually report back with the things. Now, in the case of this, of course, I want to know more. Like, was this 6-year-old kid, and being that they're 6, you know as well as I do, at that age, if they put them in SPED, it's going to be SDD. Significant developmental delay, because they can't put a thing on them until after they turn 9. So now think about what we're talking about now. This is kindergarten. Mm-hmm. This is kindergarten. So if they're constantly checking in with the parent, I'm assuming that they did, or if they didn't, then yeah, that's on them. And I'm assuming the parent responded to it. Or if they didn't, I guess we'll find out. But on what level do we recognize that they all play a part? You know, and again, I'm a teacher. So, you know, I'm definitely speaking up for that because I know that. I've lived that. And what tends to happen is that the public, teachers are your friend until something happens. Take virtual learning. When it happened, guess who was the enemy? The teachers. They know it. When what had to happen is the parent had to be there with the child and guide them through it. They got a taste of what we go through and want to give them back. I mean, you know it. You know it happens. But as a matter of fact, my son is still virtual. He's still doing virtual school. So it's a job. But you know what? I'm gonna be quiet and let y'all go, because I'll go on forever. I'm gonna zip my lips up and mute my mic. See, watch.
No, I mean, you know, because you're a teacher, you know. Mm-hmm. And so on this, I'm not only gonna come from the mental health point of view. I'm gonna also come from the parent point of view. The social, I'm going to come from everything. Yep. The mental health, the Black parent, like everything. So, you know, so also going on, the interview when the reporters were able to ask questions.
Okay.
The reporters asked. One person asked, no. So before that, the chief mentioned, or was it they say that the child was restrained by staff when they entered. Mm-hmm. To me, that would indicate that child was no longer a danger or a threat once law enforcement arrived on the scene. Now, I'm not law enforcement. I have not been in the war zone. Mm-hmm. But if that child was, and he did not have the gun anymore. Mm-hmm. So that's important. And he specifically targeted her, right? Because this is intentional. Mm-hmm. He shot her. He was able to be restrained by a staff member when law enforcement entered the room. Mm-hmm. They did not say he was kicking and screaming and he was restrained by a staff member. So when law enforcement entered the room, he is no longer a threat.
But let's talk about this restraint thing for a second. And this is what I know about 6-year-olds, because I've had to go and deal with them on several occasions. They burn out. Yeah. And when I say they burn out, they will be in crisis, and it'll last about 10 minutes. And after that, they go on to sleep. You just have to hold them until they go to sleep, because they everything comes out and they just collapse. So my question is, and you bring up a good point, because if he had the gun, he shot the teacher, right? All the kids evacuated the classroom. Crisis team come in, but they came in with somebody who had a gun. You see what I'm saying? It wouldn't have been safe for them to go in there. They could have left that boy, locked him in the room by himself.
Yeah. You guys, what you're bringing up is
No, you can't do that because might hurt himself.
It's that narrative. Most likely would have happened firing many weapons, especially when you fire a weapon without your hearing plugs on.
Mhm.
It scares you and it jolts you. So if he'd have fired that weapon would have frightened him, right? So he would have most dropped it, especially when he saw his teacher hit the ground. So he would have been in a moment of shock because he's not a killer. He was probably a frustrated kid and thought, conception of what would happen after I pull this trigger. So shock. Most likely it's the teacher's on the ground, she's yelling to her kids to get out. And the kids did that. The kids exited the room, they ran across the room, they left that room, went across the hall to another room.
Mm-hmm.
So then the teacher kind of limps out. The kid and they don't say what happens to that kid from that point to where the teacher is kind of going to go get assistance. But if other teachers came in or other staff came in to restrain him, he most likely did not have that gun because they didn't say those individuals had to talk him down or anything. So he didn't have most likely did not have the weapon in his hand. Those are kind of accounting for some of the holes that's within the story. If they're holding that kid the way they did, that tells me, or in my belief, that kid has a history, and that's their approach towards him because they already seen him as a problem kid. Versus if he was a kid that they thought was maybe sad or something else, he would like grab him and maybe even console the kid.
Well, I can tell you, when you get kids, well, two things. One, and you bring up excellent points because this clues something in to me too. There are certain kids that are disruptive, and when I say disruptive, like to throw desk and things to hurt other people, we have crisis plans in place. And when I say that, the class, because I've done this, train the class. Yep. When I say everybody go to recess or cold yellow, y'all get up and run outside. They do that. Now, for them to have to, like you said, if they had to restrain him, he was still in crisis when they got there. He was still and again, I wasn't there, I don't know, but when they're in crisis, they may be throwing things or trying to do something to hurt themselves. That's with restraints, at least here where I am, there are certain rules you have to follow to do the restraint. Yeah. And it's harm to self, harm to others.
Yeah, I mean, he fired the gun, so that he's going to be under that.
Exactly. So I agree with what you're saying. And this kind of goes in line. I don't know if that kid was a behavior problem or some kind of disruptive or danger previous, but I think you're right. If they came in with that and he was flipping out, flipping stuff over, I don't know, or trying to hurt himself, that would have been cause to do the restraint. But with the restraint, again, I don't know how this system is, but at least here where I am, you can only hold it for a certain amount of time. Yeah. And then you got to let them go. And then you can reapply and then you let them go.
So there's another report saying that he was fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, individuals that was restraining him.
Mm-hmm. But they're gonna fight. They don't want to be held down.
Crisis mode when the police showed up, but the police knew to show up without worrying about being shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, campus police probably was campus police more than likely.
Yeah,
more than likely.
Yeah. So okay, hold on. The child was restrained.
Mm-hmm.
So the one person asked, how relevant? Okay, so the person asked, did the family have interaction with law enforcement? So my question is, how relevant is that?
You mean like prior to the?
Yeah, prior to this incident, has anyone in the family had interaction with law enforcement?
Oh, yeah, that's a dumb question. I hate to say that. I know what they're trying to do. You know what they're trying to do.
Oh yeah,
that's a dumb question. So you could ask about any one of us, right? Has any one of our say something, we get into trouble, the three of us, and then is any of your family member had interaction with law enforcement? Well, yes, yes. But what does that have to do with this situation? It's not germane to this situation here. And so you set up a narrative that does not have to be there, and it doesn't even have to be true.
Mhm.
Not going to linger that, hey, this family has had run-ins with law enforcement in the past. That's a narrative, and that just distorts everything, distorts the public opinion about the family.
Right. Connect the dots though. If they say that the family is hoodlums and they have illegal guns, they're trying to get a lead so they can dig deep dirt on the family. And here on CNN, they say that the gun was purchased legally, and the mom, which what they say, mother's gun. So can we safely assume, single parent type home? You can safely assume
and it
that.
doesn't say. Yeah.
So
I'm saying it's just bad. It's bad journalism, definitely, because they don't have to report certain things, and they report it to there's holes in the story. And so, if you're not a astute listener, you ingest this and kind of roll along with it.
But look, Amir, look. The purpose of journalism today, the purpose of it today is to do what? Make money.
Yeah.
Fox News, probably about 10 years ago, kicked this whole thing off. I think the laws changed or something like that. And they started being putting out these sensational stories and spinning these things. And now that's what everybody does, because the more people read it and watch it, the more they can advertise, the more money they can make. So them reporting that like that, they had nothing to do with that family, and nothing to do with that little boy. It was about them making some money.
Yep.
And they needed to get the eyes. And you read the news here. We need to get a different spin on it so y'all can look at what we're doing. And they don't care how they paint the people that's a part of that. Long as they don't get in trouble for it, they fine.
Yeah. Well, that's been some elements of the journalistic tradition for a long time. I mean, you go back into like the 1800s and how they would report stuff, and you're like, that was some sensational stuff back in the day. And now you still see the same thing, and you go, what in the world? Like, it's no way. Like, there's a bunch of questions not being answered. And sometimes when we're looking for that journalistic integrity, we're thinking this is going to be like the Atlantic, and it's going to be very thorough and ask these questions and fill in. And then we get one of these right here. But unfortunately, like a whole group will get demonized because.
Yep. You know where the best news come from? People like us, people on TikTok who picking apart the stuff and talking about it.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna tell the truth and from put together all of the facts and the data. But this thing here, this goes back to the first thing you guys brought up. And I'm glad you said this, because I just made this connection. Why they are calling the teacher a hero, right? That was the first question. Then Amir, you talked about her being described as a Marine and what the kid is the enemy. If you are in journalism, guess what you have now? You have an epic story with a hero and a villain.
Yeah, I mean, right. I served many years in the military. Tawana served in time in the military. Listening to some of the stories that the media used to say about us. Oh man, I wish the American public would kind of stop this, because everybody likes the epic story, and the soldier, the Marine, or whatever, the airman is going to go off into this war and fight against the evil and save. You hear this story, you go. I mean, it happened with Colin Kaepernick when he decided to see who did they put against him. They put the soldier against him immediately. They're like, look, he's soldiers. And like, oh my God, I can't believe he's disrespecting the soldier. And he's like, what in the world? How's that disrespecting the soldier? The American flag has no natural connection to the American soldier, other than it's our banner for war.
The soldier told him to do it.
don't need no banner for war. Oh, we know what our orders is. We wear it on our uniform. He's not stepping on the one.
Oh. I had some stuff fall in here. I got all kind of stuff going on. My bad, y'all.
All right.
I'm in my garage to try to get this thing situated.
So yeah, you end up with this. It's that American story, and then the moment you say Marine, and it's like, yo, wait a minute. How are you a Marine? And it is, yeah. It just as soon as I hear that, then I go, okay, then so then the kid's the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be slayed, or anybody associated with the kid, right? Because it's already the police department was talking about that there's too many guns. It's a narrative being created around something else. Like, hey, maybe we need to clamp down on ownership of guns. Like that idea has already been cooking in that particular area. That's the local politics that's being played to as well. And so they're trying to find a way to clamp down on weapons in the Newport News, Virginia Beach area. That's a whole narrative that they're using this story to kind of prop up and underpin maybe some other political moves around gun ownership.
That could be the case. So, but what do you guys think about? And I've been saying this a lot, so I want to know where you guys are and what may happen with the parent role in this, because you know what they're gonna say. But I want to know what you guys think.
Well, I have a statement here, anyways, about the protocols that happens once law enforcement and CPS gets involved with the family. So it's tricky to know what is going to happen with the parents, because yes, the gun was purchased legally, but obviously it was not locked up. The child got access to the gun. The child got access to the ammunition. So by definition, well, that was again, like even that is a side point, because just because your child knows how to use a weapon does not make you a neglectful parent or puts your child in danger. So, but the fact that they had access to the weapon now puts them in the danger of the child neglect, right? And so we got to always remember, like I said at the top, that once law enforcement is involved, they're always coming from the criminal lens. So they looking at how they can charge. They looking at how they can charge their parent. So that, so they're gonna come in. Where was it? Where was the lockbox? Where was this? How, like they looking at that, and then CPS, that's what they looking at. So they not only gonna be looking at what I said, where was the gun? How did the child know where it was? The combination, all that. They looking at their refrigerator. They looking at the child's clothes. They're gonna be looking at their attendance record. They're looking at all this other stuff, medical records. They're gonna try to find a way to get that child taken. And then, so as we said, what was happening prior? Does that child have a diagnosis? Yeah. Can that child even get a diagnosis? And so if they actually went ahead and got that child evaluated, that's where our answers is going to come from.
Yep. They would have to do an outside site too.
If you do charge and lock up the parents, where are they going to go?
What's going to happen with the child?
Exactly.
That's a big thing. Yeah, they would have to get an outside psychological. They're going to have to do that, because the ones in the schools, they focus on the academic part of it. I mean, it'll play a part, but it's not the other stuff. And then he's too young for them to even put him in a area. You would have to be exceptionally severe for them to say, okay, you are this or that. And he don't even have that much school history. No. Being 6, he probably went to pre-K. If he went to a public pre-K, they have some records of that. But you got a year and a half of data in the school. And that's not enough.
What's 96 hours? Is that 4 days? What's 96 hours?
Yeah, that's 4 days.
4. Yep.
4 days. So in 4 days, they had to decide if they were gonna charge that child or admit that child, and therefore charge the parent. And if they do charge the parent, what are they going to charge the parent with? Where is that child going to stay? So throwing back on the social work hat real fast. For parents who are watching this and watching this later, the key thing that you must remember, or learning for the first time, though we have a right to an attorney, this is how our people get caught up.
Yep.
You don't get an attorney until you are charged with something. So if that child is taken from her and is placed in the system or is placed with a family member, wherever that child may happen to go, she cannot get a lawyer until she is charged with something. So however long this thing is dragged on, and that's what happens with our people. So just for your general knowledge, if you know, we got this whole the snitch thing, and you don't have this money and the GoFundMe's and like whatever, you don't get a lawyer until you're charged. And that's why our folks sit behind bars for so long, because they haven't been charged yet.
Hey, to clarify that, you're saying like the state does not offer you a lawyer, is what you're saying?
Yes, but that is correct.
Yeah.
Because you can't defend, exactly. You can't defend anything that hasn't been charged. You have an assumption, and therefore also remember this, right? The whole you have the right to remain silent. That is that from the moment that cop comes and talks to you, everything is being used against you. And again, our people, we are so cooperative, and we just want to do things right, and we just want it all to be done with. Everything is being used against us
because we think that we're told that participation. This is the discretion of the law enforcement, a bit kind of allow you to believe through certain methods that participation is good for you.
Say it again. Participation, what?
Yeah, we are led to believe that participation it's good for you. So hey man, if you look, I know you're gonna get a lawyer, you'll probably get a lawyer in a couple hours, but here's something to drink. Let's relax, everybody. Let's calm down. Let's tone it down. The police officer, even though it's a detective who's doing the interview, is going to refer to the police officers as being a separate entity. Hey, look, the police officers are out there. You're here. Let's relax. Let's calm down. We're going to work to get you a lawyer. I think your mom and dad are being contacted. So just relax. I know it was very frustrating what happened in there. But if, one thing we want to do is make sure it doesn't happen again. And it's a setup. It's the setup. They're just generally talking. They're not going to tell you that you're being investigated. It doesn't matter if you're in law enforcement hands. You're being investigated. You can get a lawyer at any time. That's what the parents need to understand. If I was just downtown, hey, just go get a lawyer and go. Hey, his lawyer wants to talk to you guys. And it can be a simple, I don't have to be detained. I could be just there for general questioning. The lawyer can handle that from the beginning. They don't have to give you a lawyer until this point in time, but that does not mean you don't have to have a lawyer from the moment you are being detained by law enforcement. You can ask, you can bring in a lawyer to start taking care of the business, and they have to ask you, they have to stop questioning you, and once that lawyer gets involved, because the lawyer is going to say, hey, are you charging him or you're not, then you're going to either let him go or you're going to formally charge him. So it's you got to get a lawyer involved immediately, but the law enforcement, like she said, they're trying to charge you, so they're going to try to find a way to keep you. Because the longer they can keep you, the more information you're going to spill.
That's right.
And so, because a 6-year-old does not know not to say anything. The 6-year-old's going to say stuff. They're going to ask stuff. They're going to go, well, when was the last time you had something to eat? Oh, you didn't eat since yesterday? I mean, they're asking all kind of questions. The kid doesn't know. He's going to be as honest as possible because he's 6.
Yep, unless they what they assign the guardian ad litem to him. I mean, even when they do that, that's a representative of the court too. So I mean,
yeah, right. You got to have something subjective out there. You got to. I hope they're getting a lawyer. I mean, at the end of the day, right? We want the parent. We ask the question. The parent most likely will be charged because someone gained access to their weapon. No matter who it is, someone gained access to their weapon. So they defeated some kind of mechanism. If it was a lock, if it was not locked, or whatever, they're going to be charged. If someone gains access to your weapon, other than them doing some James Bond stuff and breaking into your box, you're going to be charged. That's happening. The next piece of it is what's going to happen. Will they allow the child to go into the custody of the state, or unsuitable within the family to gain custody of the child? And you guys already said it. I think they're already playing against that because they're asking the question: has anyone else in their family had run-ins with the law enforcement? So they're already kind of setting it up to where the state is the only viable option for the kid versus allowing the kid to go back to someone in the family.
Either that or those reporters trying to find a way to dig out information that nobody else can get. But that picture is going to be painted, though. Like you said, I agree with you 1,000%. And this is very unfortunate, especially for the child being 6. This is something that's going to scar that. But the kid is already scarred forever.
Yeah, he's scarred.
That's already there. It's just how bad is it going to be? Because they're not going to be able to go to regular school. This is going to be, oh boy, yeah, this is going to be, be a bad one.
It's bad, man. I mean, yeah, he's going to have, if somehow the mom family is able to get a hold of the kid and get custody back, they're going to have to leave the state. They're going to have to go as far as possible, changing the name. Because,
or do some homeschool or something, virtual academies. That may be the move, because the way this playing out, it ain't gonna be good. You know,
so early.
I noticed something in the what it was, the NBC video that you sent, and at the end they were talking about security measures at the school.
Yeah,
and that's something that well, not really, but they were purchasing metal detectors and things like that. I'm not against that. I mean, at the school I'm at, they put metal detectors and everybody got to walk through it, like all of them. And these days, I think that is you never know what's going to happen. You can't just assume things, you know.
Yeah, the 2 elementary schools that I've been at, they don't have them. But our children's high school has them. So I don't know. But did you have any additional notes or questions that you came across either through the situation, the video, or the conversation?
Well, I mean, just that part about the school security, and people would think that, oh, schools don't need that.
Yeah.
But obviously we do. The thing that I'm afraid of is this. And as a teacher and as an educator, I don't want this. They're going to advocate for teachers to carry guns, and that should not happen. It should not happen. And you know as well as I do, there's some unstable teachers out there.
Oh, yeah.
Who cannot control their emotions. And they will brandish it, show it off. I got it. You know, you better do what I say kind of thing. That I don't think that's good.
No, and I think we almost had it under Trump.
Mm-hmm.
We almost had it.
Yep. I wouldn't do it. They couldn't. Nope. I would not do it. I don't want to be the person that if something go down, I got to shoot one of my students. And when I say my students, not just in my class, but I'm everybody's teacher. All of them. And if they're in crisis, I don't want to have to shoot them. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the why do you like if I see if someone pulled another weapon and then you need to fire it, but even in that scenario, when you introduce a second weapon, that increases the chances of the first weapon being fired.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're asking for, and it goes back to because I listened to you guys talk about the IEP and 504s, and then you talk about the crisis plan, and the one thing that's noticeable in all of those different plans, only like one of those actually gets exercised. So the other one is a mental game. We write down a thing, but like the crisis is like, hey, you like you said, you gotta exercise that. I tell my kids to go do this right here, so you can kind of work out the kinks and the bugs. But then when you introduce a gun to a classroom, you gotta train that. And so you can't say like that's a shooting inside of a contained area with multiple subjects inside of the area. That's some high quality shooting. That's not shooting at the range. That's military grade shooting. That's cops shooting. I mean, cops usually have to have everybody kind of evacuated out of the room so they can take down the person one on one. You're talking about shooting while people are running around. That is a whole nother level of shooting that you're asking the teacher to do, and they still learning how to teach third grade math. And so if I learn how to shoot like that, I would quit. Yeah. I'm like, I'm about to go make more money. I'm like, I'm about to do this right here. Look how good I can shoot, man.
I'm telling you.
Serious? I'm in the wrong line. I only need to be teaching.
Wrong profession.
I need to be going to do something else. And so what they're asking teachers to even take on such a task, that task is a very difficult task that police officers themselves struggle with. And they're supposed to be the professionals. Military go through hundreds and hundreds of hours of doing what we call close quarter combatants. Rooms and learn how to shoot close to each other. It's not an easy thing, especially for a teacher to pull it off her hip or his hip and then hit the student that's the threat and not hit any other student that's going haywire in the class.
Yeah. But you need to have, I think the solution is to work more on crisis communication, and being able to recognize the signs of things before they happen. If you know your kids, you can pick up on it. Even at 6 years old, you already, even if a kid is autistic and nonverbal, you still know what's happening.
Yeah.
And that's the one you always keep your eye on. Hey, come up here and sit by me.
Yeah.
But what's going to happen at that school when they go back? Because they hadn't been back to school yet. They're just now starting. They're going to start to clear book bags, which, in our town, we've had that since we were in high school. So, that's been, not to reveal our age, but many moons ago. But, they have to adjust to the new normal, and that's just what it is.
Well, you have any last minutes, Amir? Because y'all kind of already did some mic drops already. So I don't want to keep y'all because I can't.
No, I just hoping that that we this is me being naive and this is me being wishful. That they do this investigation differently and that you actually get real change. And not that we do the same old tropes of we were super sad about what happened. The teacher's a hero. The children are going to need therapy. And then we move on to the next thing, and we don't actually make those sort of changes, like you're saying, spending a little bit more money in the budget for crisis communication. Help teachers become a bit more proficient at that. Stress test scores to find those holes in they work. It's not an exercise of paperwork. Really invite parents to come into the process and really be part of the team and not feel sometimes as a outside individual. And anytime they get called in, it's when things go on the way they should. I'm hoping that we take another approach this, but that's just me being a bit naive.
All right, Doc.
I mean, we've kind of thoroughly went through it. I mean, there's so many additional avenues to explore. You know, what's going to happen to the kid after this? Is this a symptom of a bigger problem? Is, you know, what's the solution? Will people blame this on video games? You know, it's lots of ways to look at this thing. But I think that's more stuff that's going to come out in the upcoming days. And a lot of these questions will be answered and a lot more will be presented.
True that. So we're going to end up, because I will not add anymore. So, Amir, thank you for blessing the show today with your presence. So we're going to end with my question.
Okay.
I feel like you guys are going to have the same answer, but
let's see.
All right. So we're having breakfast at your house. Okay. What are you going to serve us? You're our guest, and since I know what Amir is going to serve, you're going to go first, and then Amir is going to answer.
I wanted to see what he was going to do. I want to see what he was going to do.
I'm going to let y'all work that out. Amir, right. You want to answer first, or you want Doc? It's only one. It's only one item, okay?
Oh, one thing. Okay.
It's the one item specifically that I'm. What in the world? One item specifically that I'm asking.
Okay. All right.
You got it. Buddy.
Amir, are you going to answer first, or you want Doc to answer?
Doc's got it.
Oh.
Okay, Doc.
Oh, you got me. Okay.
Are you serving pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Oh.
Well, the right kind of my pancakes. My pancakes. Not that stuff y'all getting at IHOP and none of that. I'm talking about the pancakes with the butter and the crispy edges on it. You know, the real stuff. That's what I'm doing.
Okay. All right. Amir.
Waffles.
Oh.
You surprised me, Doc. Are you sure you from Savannah?
Yeah. Look, me and pancakes got a love affair. I was about to make some or get some today, but I didn't do it because I ate healthy. I didn't do it.
Okay. Well, thank you. Oh, and so I'm serving pancakes. So,
oh yeah. You know what?
Yes, I'm your Midwest girl. I'm serving pancakes.
High five to the other side.
I can't even get it right. I can't even get it. There we go. Okay. Well, thanks again, Doc.
No problem.
It's been good. It's been a good one. Gotta come back. There's so many topics we can talk about, especially you being an educator and me being in the schools. There's so much we can talk about.
That's right. Well, you know what? Let me know. And if I'm free, you know, I'll be here. I love some intelligent conversation.
Yes, for sure. All right. And with that, I'm playing the intro. Thank y'all for joining me today. And I'm try to be a little bit more consistent with these things, and y'all stay tuned for the videos that I'm gonna be dropping that are a little bit behind because the RealRam fam, Lee fam, has some more changes coming up. So y'all gotta stay tuned. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. I would like to thank my guests for joining me, or simply thank you for watching the pre-recorded episode. No matter what your birth order is, how you self-identify, and whether you like pancakes or waffles. If this is the first time you're hearing it today, I want you to know that you are loved. You were put here for a purpose that only you can fulfill. Until next time, take care of yourself. Be sure that you like and share the videos, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notifications bell. This is RealRam out.